Hello, and we're back. Welcome to the Hypertrophy Odyssey chapter 59. It is Friday, aka the shotgun dropkick workout. I'm looking forward to it. Should be quick and easy. Get back home quick and easy. My knee feels alright, but not gonna go too crazy on the knees today. So yeah, should be good to go. Should be great. To go to the subject matter of today's video, I was going to make a video. Actually, I thought about this just for a second there, and I forgot about it until right now, which was that I was going to make a video about the list of wrestling moves I'd be willing to take. I think I'll do that, and maybe on the next Friday's video I'll do that, because then something else this engulfed me, so I gotta use this as a video since I could feel it, the talk about it right now. So, as you might have seen from the title, of course, and the thumbnail, whatever I make it, because I know I'm going to make it a spoof off of one of the movies, New Habits Die Young, which is a sequel to an older video that I had Old Habits Die Hard. The reason why this came up is because I caught myself today right before I left the house and saw myself on social media. I was on Twitter and I was like, what the hell am I doing? I made an entire video about logging off like a few weeks ago, so why the fuck am I still on this thing? And then I was just like, all right, log out, and then I logged out. And I think, like, man, that's such a fucking hard habit to kill. Ever since the Akira Toriyama news, I've been on social media just because I've been trying to get out as much news as I can. I've also reopened that floodgate of the dopamine receptors getting flooded by Twitter and all that other stuff. So I feel like maybe that might be the reason why the creative juices aren't flowing as much for me anymore, where I'm just like seeing a bunch of shit again and I'm like, ah shit, time to close it up again. And when I caught myself and I was like, man, because I wanted to make it so Twitter was only a once in a week type thing, like I'd see it like once, like maybe like on a Sunday after I've gotten everything done, maybe at the end of a day if I've done everything that I needed to do and I have a little bit of time to do nothing, which is very rare, but it is something that does happen. But even then I stopped doing that in its entirety, and I'm like, oh shit. And now that made me realize, yes, the entire idea that new habits do die young. You can try to establish something in a cold turkey sense of manner, but sometimes it just does not take. And for me personally, I have found that it is first 3 days in order to set up a routine, and then it's 3 weeks to ingrain it, and then it's 3 months for it to be a permanent thing. So that's just me personally. I know there is some like studies to support some of this, because I know that. I know personally it's 3 days for it to become not a habit, but like something that's memorable. It's like, okay, I did this for the last 3 days, I need to keep doing it. That got me screwed up with the entire logging off of socials, that I just ended up getting back on it immediately. So I logged off of Twitter today and I was like, fuck it, I'm getting back out. Another thing that I stopped doing immediately, thinking about it now, was the audiobook stuff, because I'm like, fuck, I dropped it immediately. So I need to get back on that too, because I have multiple audiobooks that I need to listen to. But I am glad that one thing has stuck, and that is the reading a book while at the gym. And I'm going through it right now. I won't talk about the book, and I'll do an entire review and all that other jazz later. But right now, it's pretty good. I've been enjoying that book a lot, actually. And I'm looking forward to what the next book will be, which I'm 99% sure I already know what it is, but we're gonna have to wait and see, aka I'm gonna have to buy it. So, but besides that, new habits. They're very hard to stick through. I think, like, if you aren't cognizant of what you're doing, they could easily fall by the wayside, and then you instantly go back into a mode that you had before. It's like trying to erase the old carvings in your brain. You're just kind of default to them regardless. You know, the new ones haven't been set into a path yet. So it sucks, because then you have to be like aware that you're doing it and like really focused on making sure that the habit clicks on and sticks on and stays within your psyche, and it doesn't just fall by the wayside. I think that things like news and or topical events, like just in general, make it so you kind of lose the newer things that you do, so you resort back to a previous version of yourself, if that makes any sense. That's what I think personally. I think that would make total sense as to why, so that's why for me personally it sucks, because I'm like, I'm trying to get better, but then something happens, and then that entire thing just disrupted the rest of my habits that I'm trying to establish, and then I resort back, and then I gotta go back to square one. So it sucked, but also now that I can realize, oh hey, I stopped doing X, Y, or Z. It's about getting back on the horse and just trying to establish it to them. That way I can continue it as a new habits, and then they hopefully don't die young like they sometimes tend to do. I will probably talk in the voiceover about some old habits that I've tried to do, but they didn't really click, and then I just said, fuck it. We'll discuss a couple things like that, maybe a few other tidbits here and there about new habits and some of the habits that have actually stuck for quite some time. Actually, there is an episode that I can do about that on Monday. I forgot about that. You see, already logging off has made my brain work a little bit better. With that being said, I will see you on the inside. Alright, so on this day I started off with hack squats. They felt alright, nothing too crazy, only did 2 sets of them because I didn't want to do too many of them. Hip still felt a little funky, but it is what it is. So I mentioned briefly earlier about like news media and also just things outside in the universe trying to make you, influence you into forgetting new habits and stuff like that. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the idea of memory holding, and that is that everything outside of you kind of, particularly like the news media and things, social media particularly, will keep feeding you new things no matter what in order for you to forget other things. So, you know, the entire idea that certain things will just be forgotten because so much news has gotten in the way that it has been memory hold. There's a lot of examples of these types of things. My favorite in recent memory that has been memory hold was that train derailment that happened in Ohio, like I think sometime last year or the year before. I don't know why it was forgotten, but I'm pretty sure that train derailment like caused a bunch of like chemicals to be like spilled out into the waterways into Ohio, and it was like super bad. Like I remember they were talking about like the chemicals that were in there were gonna live there basically forever, and it was a big issue, and then all of a sudden absolutely nothing about it afterwards, and it was a huge fucking deal. But then it wasn't a deal. So that was just something that I found funny. But it's a whole other discussion in a way. I will say this, since I decided to pick up the new habit of logging off of the social medias, I have felt way more creative. Making these videos have been way easier. I've been just tired generally and not really worried about the actual creative process of it. Creatively wise, I've been doing very well with these, and also I feel like I've been way more in tune with the internal spirit on how to make these a little bit better and also a little bit quicker. So that's a good way of a good feedback loop as to why I should keep the new habit going, which I do like. I will say this though, not all habits that I've tried to do have stuck around. I think I can talk about a couple of them. First was trying to learn Japanese, although that wasn't necessarily a habit per se. I tried to do daily learning of Japanese for half an hour. The thing that got me, I think, was that I started getting into a point where it was starting to get a little too difficult, to where half an hour wasn't enough time in the day. So I would have had to dedicate slightly more time to it in order for it to become more consistent, I feel like, because a lot of it had like a good chunk of the half hour that I would do to try to learn Japanese was basically like review and then trying to learn a little bit new, and it was like the inching forward came to the point where it was not sticking enough, so I would have needed to do more time to it. I feel like the dedicated wise, I feel like I would have needed to dedicate more time to it in order for it to really fully establish itself into my one, to learn it well, but also two, in order for it to really stick. Although some of it has stuck, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's a discussion for a different day as well. Another habit that I did do for a while was journaling, actually. I journaled for the entirety, I think, of 2022. Yeah, every day for 2022. And then I started in 2023 again, doing it daily. And then I believe I left the US to go to India for a little bit. And then when I came back from that, I still started trying to do journaling, but then I stopped and then I never picked it back up, which was an interesting one because I did enjoy journaling while I did it. But I think there was something to be said about doing it every day where I just kind of got writing the same things over and over again, and it wasn't really anything new. So I think I just stopped, and I don't know if I'd go back to it, but I think I should go back to it. I'm not 100% sure if I will, but it is something that was useful whilst I did it, and I don't know why I just stopped. It was like, it seemed like as if it was more of a hassle than anything, but it really wasn't. So I don't know why I just stopped. I guess it was just, I just kept forgetting, and then the forgetting just kept
multiplying to the point where I just stopped doing it. It is something that I should probably pick back up, but then again, this series is kind of a journal in its own, so I kind of like that in that sense. It forces me to be a little bit more creative than I was in these journaling books, so I do enjoy this a little bit more than that. A couple examples of certain new habits that I tried, and they stuck around for a little while, but they ended up falling off on the side, and I should probably go back to both of them because I do want to learn Japanese and I do like doing journaling, but I feel like I have to be more on top of it. Obviously, I'll discuss that in a little bit, but as well, I have to be more dedicated as to why I'm doing them. I think maybe that's also part of the reason why I kind of lost sight of the end goal really on both of them, and maybe that's why those habits died young. Just to mention a habit that didn't die young, which has been really helpful. Actually, I've been doing it for like 2 years now. Daily to-do lists, they've been great. They really make it so I know when my to-do list is done, my day is done, so I can kind of unwind afterwards. I don't have to worry about things not having been done, and I can make sure that everything is good to go, and then at night, I can just chill out.
And we're back. Hello and welcome to the workout debriefing. Exercises skipped, none. Exercises not filmed, none. We got it all in. I am tired. There's some traffic, son of a bitch. Who cares? Hopefully there's not too much after. Feeling it today. But besides that, looking forward to going home, relaxing, chilling out. So to get back to the main subject a little bit, new habits die young. It is something that does happen frequently a lot. I feel like most people will have I'm going to try to do this, and then they never really establish themselves in doing it. So for example, going to the gym regularly, or meditating, or insert thing here that people like to do that they don't end up sticking to. And there are multitudes of reasons why they might not stick to it, and I understand. I'm not going to be a dickhead and be like, oh, why can't you? You don't have the power, or whatever. But there are certain things that you have to be aware of, that your old habits are trying to override the new ones. So you have to make sure that you establish the new ones as conscious as possible. You have to do it as conscious as possible, or else you're going to screw yourself over and then never really establish anything new, and then you're just going to go to old habits. And because they always truly die hard. But the new ones, they really die young. Before they could really set a possible good influence on your life, before they could do that, you get rid of them unconsciously. So you got to be conscious about it, and that was what I needed to do. So when I get home, I got to log off of Twitter because that was my thing. I wanted to get off of that type of stuff. And I feel like even now at the gym, I could read a little bit more. I could be a little bit more engaged in my workout. Even though I was reading in between sets, it wasn't too crazy because I just focused on the reading and the sets. So, and my creativity has gone up again, so I feel the buzz of the creative juices flowing coming through me, and I don't feel as like stagnant and as like disgusted with the old stuff. But I got to make sure that I stick to it, you know what I mean? The stick-to-itiveness is the main part of it, right? So new habits dying young, it's something that I feel like most people have to deal with and go through. Hell, I'm going through it right now, but I feel like most people don't realize that they go through it, and or they try it and then they don't like it, and then they just kind of forget about it. I think also as well, there are certain new habits that you have to establish that take time for its effects to be felt. The gym is one of them, but like another one, there are a few others probably, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. But still, regardless, that is something that I would say is useful to do, to stick it out with new habits and let them establish themselves and let them really take a hold of something in your brain, so then that way you can gain some type of benefit. Now, there are some new habits that could become bad. Obviously, not all habits are good habits, but at the same time, you can't let a new habit become a bad habit, or let the new habit that comes in be a bad habit. For example, you get some money and you start going gambling, you know what I mean? That's a no bueno moment, you know what I mean? You got to be careful about something like that. Another thing, just in general, is like if you get money and then you let that control you a little bit more, so you start becoming like somebody who like buys shit all the time, or like a shopaholic. There you go. That's the term I was looking for. You got to be careful about something like that, because then that's not a good habit. But anyways, tell me what you think in the comments below. I would love to know about some new habits that you tried that maybe did not work out and why they didn't work out, or maybe some other new habits that you're trying now or you would like to establish, and that you're gonna have to be a little bit more cognizant in order to make sure that they stay a habit instead of dying off quickly in a young death. But anyways, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. I will be back on tomorrow. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that other jazz that the YouTube algorithm likes to add or ask for. I will be back on tomorrow with something brand new, and I will see you there. Thank you for watching. Peace.